A very warm welcome, everyone, to CRF2 round 9, I believe, here in Japan. 16 drivers line up today for hopefully a little bit more clean racing than we saw last time around. With a few of the big boys driving again. Wimpy Nick, probably the favorite as always to win it all, although Burgertown clearly a favorite of the chat, as well as Lewis, the winner of Brazil, and obviously Theodore, who I think is still third or fourth in the championship. A very tricky track, at least it is dry this time around, and we are very aware of the first sector being very tricky. Most drivers stumbling on that in Tier 4 earlier this week, as we set up a few of the overlays and such. And we are on board here with Aiden in the Haas. Hopefully a good result in the mix for him. Morecambe also here, the game master in his Red Bull, and Elijah, that's how we're going to call him for now. Hopefully this time around he will not be mad at what I say, but commentator's curse, I mentioned him and he is round already. Resets the track, hopefully not causing any issues for drivers behind, but it seems all good, all fine and dandy. As someone needs another invite again. It is what it is. Just have to check real quick who it is who needs another invite. Alright, hopefully now everyone will be in the session, as Aiden has started his lap. I think he's the second one to do so. The Massive Legend, I think, the only one in front of him, as we go on board with the tricky first sector. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. He stays a little bit away from the curb and tries to go full throttle here into a tricky fast-paced right-hander here with a little bit of a downshift, dodging most of that curb. And obviously we do bottom out on that outer curb, so he avoids that as well. It's very tricky hairpin here, wants to move, wants to stay in third rather and have a good minimum speed, as there's a Ferrari out in there in sector 3 it seems. And hopefully no big damage for him. A little bit wide there, but has good minimal speed, and now up to the most iconic corner. Maybe not the most iconic corner. 130R, a beauty, where the manager of this tier had a beautiful overtake on the outside. And a great final sector for the Massive Legend, who will open today's dance in a 1:28.3, a very decent lap by him. Aiden right behind him will not be able to match that time. 1:29.5, 1:28.2 from Melania, very good from the Alfa Romeo driver. The game master at 28 dead, so we are slowly already going into the 27s, but not quite for Morecambe, who goes into a 28.7. Here comes Elijah already in the final sector here in the McLaren. Doesn't seem to be quite on the pace here, as it shows to be a 1:29.4. On board with Lewis, the winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix. A little bit silent since then, but someone who we expect to do very well here. 27.8 for Parker, and commentator's curse once again. Lewis goes straight and goes into the pits. Meneco now in the final sector as well, will not follow his teammate into the pit lane, instead finishes his lap and just about isn't into the 27s, but Parker at the same time is a very good lap by him. Wimpy Nick at 28.3, much slower than we expect from him. Maybe a little bit of a mistake by the leader of the championship, HBR Tomo. His warm-up lap just finished, starting his lap, and we'll stay on board with him to try and see what he can do. A great line through turn 1, and maybe a little bit late on the throttle. A lot of curb there. It looks fairly clean so far, no big moments. And good speed. Can he hold the throttle here? And he can. And that's a very, very sleek first sector by HBR Tomo. Not purple according to the Delta, but still a decent first sector. It gives him a lot of opportunity to fight for that front. And a decent braking point there. A little bit of a lock up, but that could be just the overlay by EA. And now into a very tricky double left-hander. A lot of time to be gained or lost here. Good apex, good speed. On the throttle early. Not quite full throttle as early as he wanted to. Drifted a little bit wide, but nevertheless a fairly decent second sector for him. It is a purple second sector for a second, it looked like, although it then turned green afterwards. Lewis there on the side waiting for his turn, I believe, or maybe it's Medico actually. As around the final corner comes HBR Tomo to come across the line, a 1:27.870, just short of P1 for him for now, but a great lap nevertheless. Who else is on the lap? Melania is not. Aiden isn't. Burger Town maybe? Doesn't seem like he is. Yeah, he is actually. A 32.2 opening sector for him is not a bad start. Another yellow flag in the first sector this time. Can't really see why that is, but we'll just ignore it for now. As it is nice to see 16 drivers today. Really love to see that. As Nick is so relaxed that he starts following the channel mid-session. Good shit, mate. Thanks for joining. As did Berlin 23.752. Thanks so much for following, guys. As Melania just about sneaks away P1, 4,000ths under the time of Parker. As we're still on board here with Burger Town 00, who finishes at 1:29.1, not quite the lap he had wanted. And here is Lewis with his second try for a good lap. And let's see, on board with the Ferrari driver, what he can do. Good first corner. That looked pretty clean. Well, but he hits the inside curb. Now he should abort. But he does not. He continues. Probably doesn't have enough fuel to do another one. And so we'll continue this lap. Also probably because everyone outside the P8 is in the 29th, and that is doable even with this lap so far, but it's not been the cleanest lap by Lewis. The Welshman struggling here in that first sector for the grip, and then touched the inside curb again, and that is just not what he wanted to see. And now I would definitely abort this lap, although he is still using the RS. So maybe it's back to the pits and retrying once again. Now time is running out, a little bit too wide, hitting that curb, oversteer, understeer in the double left-hander as well, as there is a Aston off in the first sector, but nothing too crucial happening there. Through 130R we go. So this lap is not going to be up there with the boys like Melania, Parker, or Tomo. I think it will be more in the neighborhood of Elijah, but no, it's not even going to be that. He just bolts into the pits with 8 minutes left. He should have enough time to go out later. Wimpy Nick on his second lap now, or on his out lap, onto his second lap. Expecting a 27 by him at the very least. Probably took it pretty safe in that first lap. Durgas seems to have aborted his lap. Massive Legend Is not on the lap, no ERS usage. Meanwhile, Justin, also NASCAR fan YT, no ERS, but has aborted his lap after invalidating. And so, back on board with Elijah. A little bit of oversteer there. Gets a little bit of a tow here by the Alfa Romeo driver, but they have a little bit of miscommunication. Almost a huge crash. Cannot really blame Theodore for that. He was on the outside. He wanted that tow, and so he saw him move to the right and move to the left to get out of the way, almost causing a crash. And he does slightly improve 128. And, we'll see him to P11 for now. And the Game Master has retired after crashing out in Sector 1. Seems like the end of the S's, he went wide or oversteered, overcorrected into the wall here on the left. I think it's right here on the left he oversteered. And that is a very unfortunate, as the McLaren is off as well here. Hopefully he can continue his journey. He goes back on the track, and someone in front of Theodore there blocking his racing line. Not ideal for the Alfa Romeo driver, who goes a bit wide and invalidates. He will be very upset with whoever was in his way. Back on board here with Lewis, who has his third attempt now for a clean lap. Another yellow flag. That's just someone going out of the way. But we expect more from Lewis. P15 right now, no lap set. And so he will want to at least have a decent banker lap now and get back to the pits. It'll be tricky now. 5 minutes 40. Doing a lap now. 4 minutes. Back to the pits, 2:30. He'll be back in the pits at 2:30 as his teammate there, Meneco, standing still in the final corner. Well, that can't be good for his tire temps. Anyway, as we're watching with Lewis here to see if he can improve. Third time's the charm, we all will say, on board with him. His first corner wasn't bad last time. He hit the inside curb. This time he avoids it, and so no oversteer this time. That looks pretty decent. Hopefully no oversteer over that curb. No, it seems pretty good. Holding it tight here. This is really clean so far. This is what he wanted. A little bit of a lift there to make sure he makes it through the corner. He just needs a lap on the board. Doesn't go too wide here. That's good. Takes it easy through here. That's fine. Now don't touch the inside curb here, mate. Don't touch the inside curb. And he avoids it this time. Still oversteer on acceleration. Maybe a little bit too much steering angle, but still makes it work. Will only cost him a few tenths, maybe. And now the tricky double left-hander. Had a lot of oversteer last time around. Takes it very easy. Just wants a lap on the board now. You can see that he is not pushing it to the ultimate limit, as a Mercedes in front is creating some space for himself. Hopefully he understands to get out of the way, but around 130R we go. Brake for the 100 meter board, a little bit wide, and so an aggressive steer in from the Ferrari driver, and that cost him a lot of time. The rear just gave up, and a 128.9 seems him only to 13th. Not exactly what he had in mind. As we go to Wimpy Nick, who did improve to a 27, but only barely. And the front very close together. Melania back to the front, 127.817, 4 thousandths in front of Parker. The top three within a tenth. And as I say that, 127.3. Wow, what a lap. That is an impressive lap. I wish we were on board for that one. That is insane. I've only done a few laps of this track, but as a tier 1 driver, I'm not quite sure actually what my time trial is, but it must not be that much faster than that. So very impressive stuff there by Melania, showing that he can fight here for the win. Especially with Wimpy Nick seemingly a little bit out of shape, or at least not as dominant as we have come to expect. A big wiggle from Parker into turn 1. Sees him giving up already, as he is not using his ERS anymore. Meneco here in the toe of an Alfa Romeo. Hopefully both not on the lap, because this looks really weird. HBR Tomo retires. Just doesn't have an improvement in him, or crashed out. I didn't see. Meanwhile, Wavy Knife goes wide and invalidates. Massive Legend is off, and wow, how did his front wing... What? He retires on track. That is not what we have in the regulations. How did his front wing stay in one piece? Wow. I'm pretty sure damage is on, no? I checked it like half a second before the thing started. But that looked weird. No way you should get out of that without damage. Anyway, Elijah starting his lap, turning on his energy a little bit late maybe. In P12 currently, as Lewis retires in P14. Not a good qualifying by the Welshman, but we know that he has good race pace, so we'll expect him to fight his way back to the front in due time. Same with Theodore here, expecting more from him, and as we say that, he goes around. And only a minute to go. I hope he has enough fuel. Goes back to track. There is a Mercedes behind him. Hopefully he doesn't impede. And it seems like it's all fine. Murakam also not on the lap, as most people have retired already pretty early on in the session. Usually everyone is still driving around this time with track evolution and such. As I'm gonna just check, just in case. No mentions of damage not being on or anything, so we're just gonna continue. Parker with not full ERS this time around needs a good lap here if he wants to fight Melania for P1. Morecambe, same story, different car. Wimpy Nick, probably the favorite to improve here, and he does by a slight tenth almost. That's not enough. That would see him improve though to second position. As Melania saying his lap wasn't the best. That's cap, bro. That's cap. On board with Wimpy Nick. Through the second sector he goes. Actually, let's stay with... Oh, Parker just started his lap, or just finished his lap. He improved to 1:27.6. Wimpy Nick needs a tenth and a half to improve to P3 or above. And it looks pretty decent so far. A great corner there. Good apex and good minimal speed. Can Wimpy Nick suddenly come out of nowhere to steal it away? The answer is no. It's P5. And that is very unfortunate. Still a decent result, but he's come to expect more from himself. Meanwhile, Burgertown here, the last to go, I think, as we are actually on board with Theodore, 3.5 seconds up. That would see him into P15 only, as he does improve by 8 seconds in the end. A P10 for him, demoting the Haas to the last position, and everyone else is not busy anymore. Burgertown finishing his lap 1:27.5, no, 1:27.9, sees him into P9. What the fuck, you guys? Wait, what are we talking about? Go watch Champs? What does that mean? We're watching CRF today, man. You're in the wrong place, the wrong time. Melania with a dominant qualifying 3/10 clear reminding us of the posted days in Tier 3, where he was just like a second clear. However, it is now Melania's time to shine. Not sure how many races he's done now. 2? 2 or 3? I am Fridge. Hi. I'm commentating today. A solid qualifying sees the Alfa Romeo in P1, as we do see Nick in a surprising P5, and then the winner of the race before that, Lewis, down in P15, I believe. Not exactly what we've come to expect from those drivers, but qualifying is won, but no points are given out on Saturdays, except for Tier 2 because they drive on Saturdays. Regardless, it is time for the race. No formation lap this time around, and so we are 4 lights and 5 lights, and they are out, and away we go. Wavy Knife with a drive-through penalty already, as a good start from Parker sees him alongside already and ahead of Melania. Wimpy Nick from P5 to P3, a great start by the Williams driver as well. Let's go a little bit further down the back. No real crashes seen so far, as Lewis has also gained 1 position, and Meneco is up into P4, and there's someone going straight. Is that Parker? Parker goes straight into the S's, and that is him from P1 to P16 in a matter of 1 corner. And I again didn't see him get any damage, but regardless, it does seem that he got out safely, and a huge crash behind, and that is 2 more drivers in the wall, but again no damage. Is damage really off? What? I have to check this. Might have to restart. Damage is on. Standard. How did these people survive? Alright, sorry to go away from the action. I see 3 people in the wall. None of them get damage. Also in qualifying, I saw the same. But it is... damage is on. So we'll have to continue and just expect that it's on and it's working as intended, as there's another yellow flag. Not sure who that's... oh no, is it Melania suddenly in P15? He has gone round as well. Wimpy Nick, after all that chaos, after a bad qualifying, again back to P1 with a second gap behind. How does he keep getting away with it? Meanwhile, Meneco now up into P3, Burgertown in P4, very good from him, Moricum and Wavy Knife in the pit, so maybe damage is on. But it just doesn't give visuals when someone gets damaged, because, again, I didn't see that. Regardless, Lewis from P15 up to P8, very good opening stint by him so far, lap 2, and already up 7 positions is a very good start. But now in the mix, and there's a big fight between the... oh, what a beautiful move, Lewis! Elijah pushing NASCAR fan YT wide, and a little bit of contact means he can go through, and no, Elijah brakes way too late, hits the Ferrari in the rear, a lot of damage left and right, front wings flying everywhere, and Lewis demoted down into 11th after a terrible collision with Elijah. What a terrible move, and hopefully the FIA will have good look at that incident. I feel like those incidents are just the most frustrating. People completely misunderstanding what racing is, and yeah, outbraking yourself happens, but crashes like that can just completely mess up other people's races. So yeah, it's just a shame to see. In front, HBR Tomo has regained the lead, or has taken the lead away from Wimpy Nick. That's something not many people can say. He is on soft tires, as Elijah gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane after getting front wing damage for hitting Lewis. And now we see Tomo trying to get away with his soft tires. As we are talking about that, we should probably have a little bit of a look on what the tire situation is. Oh, whoopsie, there we go. That's the tire situation. Most people on mediums and a few on the soft tires. NASCAR fan. Oh, and H. Tombo has disconnected. And that is not a good timing for the driver who was leading the race, and he DNFs instantly. Never seen that before, but we just have to move on and continue. Weird game this is sometimes. I'm guessing he just lost internet connection. The game just instantly DNF'd him instead of just letting the AI drive around. But anyway, that is Wimpy Nick back again into P1 as Lewis is back up to P7 and he's fighting hastily here with Melania and Theodore in an Alfa Romeo sandwich, and he does have to cede position for now. Maybe just waiting out his time, biding his time to get a better chance. A little bit of contact between Theodore and Melania, and then also with Lewis, but no real front wing damage for him so far. In the front, we see the Haas having a look into 130R. Don't do it. It's really tricky. He does have a look, Aiden, and it is just about working out. Can he go for the move into the last few corners? No, it can't. And Lewis touches Theodore, and that's Theodore losing 1 or 2 positions. That will be investigated after the race, I'm sure, as well, as Aiden goes into the pit lane as well. Lewis back into P7 after another incident. This time he might be to blame, but can't be sure. Wasn't very good on stream. Couldn't really see what happened exactly. With that, a lot of people having boxed again due to damage or otherwise. Meneco has now taken the lead of Wimpy Nick, who keeps getting the lead from incidents around him, but then having to cede it again and again and again. But he is still in P2, and as the leader in the championship, he will gladly take that. It's obviously a very good result. But would still like to win all of the races, as he is so used to doing, especially with the season coming to a close. He would want to perform well in order to show the tier 1 principals his skill, and that they should pick him up for tier 1. And that means that the race has died down a little bit. Parker is the only one within a second of anyone, and that seems to be Morecambe down in P13. All the people who are in the top brackets in the race all have demoted, but Melania now on the softs is back up into P6, and that will be good for him. On his soft tires, can drive away maybe a little bit from Lewis here, who does see himself 2.5 seconds down on the Alfa Romeo driver, but still on his first medium stint as he touches that outside curb, and the car unsettled loses a lot of time to Durgas, who is almost within DRS. Parker sets a fast lap of the race at 130.3 and immediately overtakes Morecambe into the first corner. His fresher mediums working well. Aiden into the pits again. I'm guessing he forgot to change his wing because the game doesn't fix it on auto, getting himself a penalty just like Elijah did. Wimpy Nick leading the race once again. Meneco now in P2 and Burgertown in P3, all within a second of each other for the 1 DRS we have on this track. And up to 130R we will go. A lot of extra fuel taken by most of these drivers. Surprising, as Elijah getting another penalty, this time for track limits. And Meneco hasn't given up yet. He is still within arm's length of the leader in the race. And a decent last sector here will give him another opportunity with DRS. 6/10 will quickly become 5, and 5 might become 4, and 4 might become 3 as we go into the braking zone. But it isn't enough for a move, as a little bit wide goes Wimpy Nick, but nothing too serious. A lot of dirty air here in the first sector means no real move. The Massive Legend with a very early pit stop as well. A lot of early pit stops here, probably due to some contact here and there. Durgas has caught up to the back of Lewis, who seems to be struggling on his set, especially after the few taps that he has received and or given out, meaning his rear tires probably got a little bit overheated, and now having to get them back in the window has been tough for the Ferrari driver. The fight for P1, still the fight to watch though, as the Ferrari driver still within that second. Burgertown just dropping outside, but with some ERS usage, sneaks back in for now. As 6/10 last lap is 6/10 this lap, but now is slowly turning into 5 and 4. And with some ERS usage, might show that he is looking to go for a move into turn 1, wanting to take that leading spot from Nick, as there's a yellow flag in the back, and that is Lewis. Lewis round once again, and that sees him demoted down to 10th position. Is that rain? Or is that just a bug? Oh, it's a bug. Okay, that's just the visual bug. Lewis down now into 12th. What's going on? What are you doing, mate? Did he recover and then spin again? I don't know. He's down in 14th now, hoping for a safety car for him, as that yellow flag is still out, and now finally cleared. P14 now. Should have probably just reset the track and taken that 5-second penalty, because now he lost like 17 positions, but we move, as Medico is still within that second. The Game Master losing his position before to NASCAR fan YT, but on the soft tires that makes sense as he touches a bit of grass, and that will lose him a lot of time. And having to be very cautious on the throttle, and look at how much that grass has impacted his grip. As he touches grass again, sends him slightly wide, but just about keeps it within the white lines, rather. But that does see him outside of a second, rather. And so, comparative to last week, no safety cars instead of 19 is a very good change of pace. This view just makes it look like there's rain, because the railing is just so buggy. Anyway, Manico remaining within 6/10 and slowly driving away from Burgertown. In the back, the gaps are huge, as Lewis, Massive Legend, Elijah, all so far outside of each other's view that it's just a lonely race for them. Parker back to 10th position. And not a lot happening right now, even though there's 15 drivers left. Not a lot happening at the current moment. And as I say that, there's a yellow flag and Burgertown is out, and there's the safety car. Commentator's curse, baby. Let's go! We have a safety car, and Lewis is the first one to react and to instantly pit for new tires. Let's see what tire he will go to. It is the soft tire. Spicy. That is spicy indeed. An unlucky, unfortunate crash by Burgertown. We couldn't quite see what happened to him, but out into the first sector. Maybe a skill issue, maybe a wheel issue, maybe he got spun around. We will never know. But he is out, and he does help the race gain back a little bit of action. And into the pits, Wimpy Nick will go. Will he also go for soft from now, or will he do a very long hard stint? The answer is he will go to another set of mediums. Copy that. Meneco has gone to hards. NASCAR fan from hards to mediums, I reckon. Yep. Melania from softs to mediums. Durgus from mediums to softs. Theodore from mediums to mediums. Just does what Wimpy Nick does. That makes sense. Durgus to softs, Theodore to mediums, Melania mediums, Game Master to mediums, NASCAR fan to mediums, Meneco to hards. What a crazy race so far. And Aiden sort of saved by this. as he is not lapped this time around because of this. Wimpy leads the race. Once again, on fresh mediums, Menaco on fresh hards will try to end the race, or finish the race rather, on that compound. NASCAR fan on mediums, the Game Master on mediums, Millennium on mediums. Durgus is gonna hunt some people down on his soft tire. Theodore is back on mediums and back into 7th place after his incident with Lewis earlier. Will be pretty happy to be back into the points. Wavy Knife, haven't seen him this race, so that's mostly my bad. P8, very good from him. Parker had a little bit of an issue into the first sector of the first lap, and he has slowly fought himself back to P9. Moricum is in P10, and then Massive Legend, Elijah and Lewis all wanting to hunt that field on their soft tires, but it will be tough. And so that is the field. We are still under safety car conditions, and so no overtaking, and it is important to not make contact here with each other, and we might see a safety car for 1 or 2 more laps, because the field is not by any stretch of the imagination together yet. As we see, Aiden isn't even out of the 2nd sector yet. And so, an unfortunate exit for Burgertown, who definitely was quite rapid on that medium tire. Maybe just pushing a little bit too hard to try and keep up with Menaco and Wimpy Nick, and finding his end of the race into a wall. We've all been there, we've all done it. Every league racer knows that pain. Just means gotta keep a little bit more composed, a little bit more safe. But we live and we learn, and I'm sure Burgertown will learn a lot from this race. He does have the pace, and he's shown it so many times, but just needs to keep his car out of trouble, keep himself out of the wall, and he will do just fine here in Tier 2. Meanwhile, the field, we've seen Wavy Knife with a late pit stop down to 11th position, but sees himself now with the freshest tires of the field. And so we just follow Nick behind the safety car, and it's still Aiden. Is Aiden connected? Does he have a delta he has to adhere to or something? Because he is not catching. Still 19 seconds away from the rest of the field. And as I say that, it's almost as if he's listening. He gains 5 seconds. But he might be the reason the safety car does not go in, and he is the reason the safety car doesn't go in, and that means we do 3 laps behind the safety car. That is outrageous. Not ideal for the entertainment, but it makes an interesting strategy. Wimpy Nick is forced to do another pit stop this race. He has done the medium tires twice, and for those who aren't very familiar, you are forced to use at least 2 compounds of tires unless it is raining. And that means 2 unique compounds. So soft, medium, hard tires are the options. He has done the medium tire twice, meaning he still has to go to soft or hards. I'm imagining he will extend to softs or go to hards when a safety car hits immediately after. I'm guessing that's what he is betting on. Safety cars have not been a scarcity here in CRF, and I think he's building up upon the fact that the midfield will be fighting hard. Meneco will be very happy if there's no safety car on his hards. The Wavy Knife has gained a position because a Legend has gone off the track. Yeah, I don't think you're forced to give the position back. You can, but you are not required to. And so that sees Massive Legend from P9 to P14, just like that. And Lewis will be unhappy to see the driver in front, the guy who sent him round in lap, must have been 4 or something. Hopefully he can get through cleanly this time. His move into that corner, I hope he has it recorded. If he doesn't, I have it. That overtake was beautiful. The cutback on the 2 fighting drivers. Anyway, we are back underway. Wimpy Nick can start the race whenever he wants to. As a little bit of clouds are starting to form, but I'm guessing there won't be any rain. As he waits long, but not very long, and there we go, and it looks like NASCAR Fan YT is very awake, and behind we see Durgas for the same reason, and a little bit of a move, a little bit of a touch by the Game Master on the back of NASCAR Fan, but no big incident there. Melania is also back into P5. Durgas is fighting hard with Theodore and Parker right behind, as there's a yellow flag that is Massive Legend off again, just like he did on the safety car. Parker looking a little bit on the outside here, Theodore, but through the S on the outside, that's very difficult to do, and he doesn't quite seem to manage it just right now, as Elijah gets cleared by Lewis, and on the inside goes Parker. They keep each other alive, but a little bit of a squeeze means Theodore loses one more position. Wavy Knife makes from the outside the inside, out breaks him into the hairpin, and that sees Parker having to cede position, but no, he stays on the inside, but this will become the outside again, and maybe he has to give way to the soft runner Wavy Knife. But it seems for now he's trying to defend, but there he has to let go of that position. P8 for him. Wavy Knife up to P7. As Lewis is indeed in front of... Am I seeing drops or rain? This time for real. It's raining. I can't... Yeah, it's raining. As a lot of wheel spin for some drivers. As Elijah overtakes Lewis again. And Lewis demoted down to 13th. And rain has hit the track. And Parker is immediately in for Inter, so is Moricum. Wow, that is so early. But we know that this game just makes it wet instantly sometimes, and that is what she said. And meanwhile, we see Wimpy Nick still in first place. A very solid race by him so far, but he'll be very cautious here, as rain can suddenly hit and suddenly be super tricky for all the drivers. Ahead we see Melania catching up to the Game Master rather comfortably. Maybe he just has that pace on the changeable conditions. We'll have to see Parker's distance to Lewis to really gauge if that Inter is faster already. The answer so far seems to be no, from 17.8 to 18.1. But who knows, the second sector might just be a whole different story, as we are on board with Melania right behind the Game Master, trying to make a move happen, but not quite making it happen, as NASCAR Fan YT going a little bit wide in front. And now the question is, who makes the right call? Parker sticking with Lewis on his inters, and that might just mean that it is ready already for the intermediate tire, although the track looks absolutely bone dry. The game says otherwise, and no, Wimpy Nick stays out. Meneco stays out, the Game Master stays out, Melania stays out, and it seems like everyone is just trusting the judgment of NASCAR, of Wimpy Nick rather, and that is very interesting to see. And Lewis does not follow suit. He just wants that safety. He wants to know for sure that he's on the right tire, and he goes to the intermediate tire, just like the drivers behind, as Parker and Moricum and Massive Legend all have pitted. Will he stay in front of Parker? We'll have to see, as Theodore and Elijah. Oh, a little bit of contact between the two. Theodore touching the inside of Elijah there, who just about manages to stay within the lines as the Game Master gets a 3-second penalty and then lose a bunch of positions, maybe after a little bit of contact with Durgus. Fab, who also loses 1 or 2. Not ideal for them. The soft runners definitely will be very fast now, and no, Durgus losing the rear once again. Melania's out. That might just mean that he has some internet issues or something. And there's another safety car, and that will be very heartbreaking news for the people who made the early pit stop. It seems like everything that can go wrong has gone wrong for Parker and Lewis today so far, but we're still halfway. Still a lot that can happen. Moricum gets a drive-through for speeding. The Game Master got a penalty. Elijah, I think, got another penalty. Massive Legend got a penalty. As Melania has left, so I'm guessing maybe he just crashed. Or retired out of frustration, I'm not sure. But a very sudden departure from the fastest man in qualifying. And now obviously it is time for intermediates for everyone who hadn't already. And with the Delta, that probably means that Parker won't even gain that much from this. What a wild, wild race. As Moricum goes in again, I guess for just some fresh inters. Don't really see the point, unless he had some damage. And Aiden will stay in front of the Ferrari, because Lewis sees himself still outside the top 10. A very unfortunate situation for Parker and Lewis and Moricum. As apparently Melania thought that we had a formation lap. It had been announced that we would not be driving with formation lap. That's why we always need to watch the announcements, boys. It was shared, as we always do, with last minute changes. That being said, the Game Master with a penalty, Elijah with a penalty, Aiden with a penalty, Massive Legend with a penalty. I think Moricum has a drive-through even, so he will be lining up in last place. Wimpy Nick, as always, in P1, but Wavy Knife quite close behind on that fresh inter with him. So he definitely has a chance to compete for that top step. Medico, as always, still up there, wanting to prove himself after showing that he just was too fast for tier 3. And had an unfortunate race in Brazil, if I'm correct, where he was taken out or crashed out with someone fairly early in the race, like lap 2. But he's shown that he just has the pace for tier 2 easily. Just has to keep it. As another pit stop here by Lewis. Fresh inters again. Some people will have to explain to me why everyone's pitting like 17 times. Moricum to wets. Now it could be my my graphics, but I'm not seeing that much spray. So not sure if that's the strat. In fairness, I'm not seeing any spray, so maybe spectators just don't see that shit anyway. Regardless, we will have to see how that goes for him. I think it's too early, but we know that this game can just make it wet just like that. Just like, whoop, it's just, oh, it's full wets now. Good luck, have fun. That started raining like 3 seconds ago. Don't care. It's what it is now. It's full wet. So maybe he is just the genius, the 1000 IQ driver here, which he might need to be in order to win this race from P12 with penalties. Wavy Knife, I reckon, has a good chance here. Pretty sure last time it rained he was doing really well. And most people don't practice wet racing. So he might just be able to surprise and be even faster than Wimpy Nick. Wimpy Nick, who is comfortably leading the championship, so shouldn't really be bothered whether he finishes first, second or third, but at the same time wants to show that those tier 1 team principals who are watching that he is the man to sign next year, as the safety car is in this lap. Let's see if Morecambe can make his wets work. Let's see if Wimpy Nick can keep Wavy Knife behind, and let's see if everyone can keep it clean, as on the restart it does seem that Wimpy Nick has a good one, and behind it seems all pretty safe and sound, although Elijah is already right behind Theodore. Will he send a move into turn 1? He does not. Very safe for now. As a little bit wide goes NASCAR fan again, the rear stepping out on the Williams driver, but it keeps it just within the lines. Morecambe still in front of Lewis, so his wet's not the slowest so far. As we are still on board here with NASCAR fan to see if he can keep it in a straight line. Seems for now he is just fine. Durgas Vap already right behind Elijah with a better exit, but can't quite make it work. As I think that's Melania in chat. What's up, bro? Sorry to see you out. You had a really good pace. As the Elijah going wide and losing a bunch of positions here, maybe. As Lewis with a triple overtake. What happened there? We'll have to see. As a little bit of contact here between Elijah, Parker, and Durgas. But it seems that Elijah has the best out of it all. Although Parker tries to go around the outside, but he loses the rear and crashes into Durgas. A lot of... Oh, that is a lot of damage now on board of the Alpine driver. Oh, what a shame for him. And he will have to start from the rear again. As it looks like Lewis has a good pace here on the intermediates. And all the ERS in the world to send it outside of ERS. Will he send it on the outside in the wet in 130R? He doesn't need to. He's already passed. Great move by the Ferrari driver up to P8. And that is a great restart for him. Although he goes a little bit wide. Now has to be careful by and re-attack by Durgas, but it does seem he has the gap. Now can start fighting back as Wimpy Nick loses the lead to Wavy Knife. And Meneco is looking menacing right behind. And that is a good fight here for 1, 2, and 3. All within the same screen. And the Game Master and Theodore having their own little battle behind. Sorry, that's NASCAR fan and the Game Master rather. And it's really up in the air who will win between these three, if it's one of these three. The rain continuing steadily, and Morecambe seems to have decent pace. He does not seem to have a decent pace. He is way behind. Parker can't even go on board to see what tire he's on. Fuck this game. Let me watch what tire he's on. He is on Inters. Right. Alright. As the restart has happened, we look at the field and we see a familiar face around the top steps, but not on the top step. Wavy Knife. Oh, Wavy Knife! No, he said this was his time. This was his condition, and it saves another safety car. Oh, Wavy Knife. Every time that I hype someone up, they crash out. I'm so sorry. Wavy Knife saying in Discord this is his conditions. This is his favorite driving conditions. And as I start hyping him up, he bins it in the final corner of the second sector, meaning he is out. And now Wimpy Nick sees all of his challengers one by one fall away. Melania, the guy who qualified P1, pretty quickly out. HBR Tomo, who took the lead from Wimpy Nick. His internet crashed. Burger Town crashed. Melania crashed, and now Wavy Knife crashed. Meaning Wimpy Nick once again retakes the lead in the race. And that is fortunate for him. Medico won't be complaining either. Still in P2, still with an eye on the prize. As the rain seems to steadily continue, Morecambe says, nah, these full wets ain't it. Going back to the intermediates. Lewis finds himself back into P7 behind his nemesis from earlier in the race. And in front of him, the other nemesis. In front of the guy who spun him round. In front of that guy, the person who you spun round, maybe. Wavy Knife, an unfortunate crash from him in a race where he looked so good. Really consistent in the midfield and making use of all the crashes and spins. Found himself in P2, overtook Nick for P1, but then losing that rear, so easy to do on this track, especially in the wet. You can't be mad, you just have to accept it. It is what it is, and come back stronger next time around. Elijah, after all the incidents, up in P6 still. Can't be too unhappy with that. Hopefully we can go racing quickly again. Another 5 laps behind safety car. I will lose my mind. It doesn't seem to want to go into this lap because Durgas hasn't caught up yet. And so we will race another lap behind the safety car. And so let me look at the standings for you guys. Let's see what's going on, shall we? Alright. Well, brace yourself, because the championship is pretty much ran already. In the lead with 115 points. 113 points? I can't read. It's 113 points is Wimpy Nick. In second place, it's Lewis with 45 or 43. I can't. It's too small. I can't see. So less than half of the points. That's unlucky. Parker is in third with 42. Equal to NASCAR fan, I think, also on 42. Then a guy who I don't think is driving anymore, and another guy who's not driving anymore, and then Burger Town with 30, and then Morecambe with 24. Then I mean, at that point it doesn't really matter anymore anyway, because everyone else is more than 100 points behind. I thought Theodore was further up, but he is down in 13th in the championship with a 100 point deficit, or like 93. So it will be tough for him to win the championship, if not impossible, with only a few races left this season. And so, Wimpy Nick in the lead, both in the championship and in the race. And so he will see his lead extend once again. Aggressive weaving here from Medico. I respect it. NASCAR fan, a bit more conservative weaving. Game Master is too cool for weaving. Theodore saying Elijah not really weaving either. As Melania just said, he thought the first lap was the formation lap, so he was confused why everyone was overtaking him. That is very unfortunate. As I think we are back on our way. Wimpy Nick will lead the way whenever he wants to. Let's see if Monaco is awake. And Wimpy Nick goes later than last time, as the Game Master is very awake. And there's a huge fight here for P2. 4 wide basically into turn 1, but everyone sticks to their position for now, as again NASCAR fan loses the rear a little bit and loses a bunch of position. The Game Master up to second. Meneco loses another position, as Lewis is down to 11th. He's gone around, it seems, and that is not great. From P7 down to 11th once again. The Game Master retakes second position this time around. And that is just a great start for Wimpy Nick. As he sees everyone behind battle, he just extends and extends and extends. NASCAR fan YT wanting to make his mistake right again from 4th down to 6th, as behind a big battle is going on between Parker and Durgas. And there goes Elijah wide into the hairpin. He had issues with braking there earlier, and now all the way down to 9th position with Morecambe and Lewis the only one trailing him now, as Morecambe goes to the inside to protect against Lewis and just lets Lewis by. Okay. Decent. Parker, meanwhile, no, the Game Master is wide and loses his rear in the same corner Wavy Knife did, and sees himself from P2 down to P11. The now Massive Legend in a fight with his teammate Durgas Vap, but it doesn't seem to cause him any issues as Lewis tries to send into Elijah and does seem to make it stick just about, although he doesn't make the position stick, and now Elijah goes wide as well as Massive Legend, and Lewis just takes 3 extra positions there for free. I'm not sure if he had anything to do with it or it's just a skill issue by the drivers. The wet is very treacherous, but as Lewis back to P7 once again, where we've seen him like 3 or 4 times today. A good fight back once again after going back to the bottom, as we see Elijah now back to 11th position. Not great for him. As second clear is Wimpy Nick, with Theodore and Meniko fighting for P2, together with Parker, who is back up to P4 after everything seemed to go wrong for him. He is still in 4th, and that shows his pace. NASCAR fan in 5th, as there's another yellow flag, and this time it's the Game Master once again, who has a skill issue in the first sector. The place, really, that is just so tricky, this game. As we see a bad exit there by Theodore, losing him that gap to Parker and Meniko, as Wimpy Nick is just taking the big steps home to another victory. As Meniko is losing a little bit of time here to Parker, and maybe he will set up a move into 130R. It would be risky, and so he waits. He waits for the final corner, or maybe for turn 1. Let's see if he has more momentum here. He does. Will he have a look on the inside of the final corner? No, he just threatens it. And the Ferrari does seem a little bothered by it and goes a bit deep, and so a better exit here could mean a great overtake into turn 1. The gap stays closed, the inside, and so Meniko defends for now, but can he cover up the inside against Parker? We have seen him try this overtake before, and around the outside doesn't quite go in the rain, but the cutback, a beautiful cutback there from Parker. Meniko doesn't see it coming, and that's a beautiful move by the Alpine driver. What a move for P2. Theodore is trying to catch this little group. Meniko only 7/10 in front, but in the back we see Durgas only 4/10 behind NASCAR fan, who doesn't quite seem to have the pace here in the rain. At least not at the same level he had it in the dry conditions, as Lewis is also still within a second of this little group, and Morecambe is also looking pretty quick around this track in these conditions. Hopefully we'll see a nice move and not some dive bomb, as another yellow flag, and that is Theodore losing the rear into the hairpin rather, and that is another free position for everyone else except for maybe Elijah and the Game Master, who are too far behind. Lewis still defending from Morecambe, who is still right on his tail, as well as he is right on the tail of Durgas Vap, who is right on the tail of NASCAR fan. A beautiful fight here, but a better exit here from Morecambe means that he can have a look on the inside of 130R, as Massive Legend is out of the race, and it's another safety car, as a little tap there from Morecambe. I'm not sure what that was for. I guess just a little nice fight tap, you know how it is. And that is the 4th safety car, I believe. Now the rain is getting pretty intense. Will someone try a thing? Yes, Morecambe. He tried it once before, and he's gonna try it again. Full wets didn't work last time. Or is that Inter's? Oh, he had a front wing. He had front wing damage. Anyone else? Yeah, Elijah having the same issue. Also Inter's, so I guess no full wet. It looks like it should be full wet, but it isn't quite. And so everyone's still on the Inters. But look at that rain. It is raining heavy. It's raining very heavily indeed. But no one wanting to make that call. Morecambe tried once and it didn't succeed. It looks full wets to me. But the game is treacherous when it comes to weather conditions. It wasn't even wet on the track. It was just raining, spitting rain, and everyone was forced to go to Inters. So you can't always expect to have matching conditions and tires. With 3 laps remaining, it is also pretty late to make a bold move. But if you're gonna pit anyway, might as well. Surprise Morecambe didn't try it again. Elijah in the back, but P10 means he is guaranteed a point. He'll be pretty happy with a guaranteed point. Same with Lewis, maybe, after all the shit that he's gotten today. Crashes, spins, strategy calls that were punished by safety cars. The whole lot. As the safety car stays for another lap for no apparent reason, except that Elijah wasn't there yet. So, only 3 racing laps, as I, just like last week, am commentating half a race behind the safety car on a Saturday night. What a blessing. Let's see how much the new Inters from Theodore will help him after his little excursion, let's say. Morecambe will want to improve as well on his new Inters. And the Game Master is still here. What else? I thought he was out. I thought he crashed. I guess he just spun. NASCAR fan still on the edge of a podium after a few little whoopsie moments. He is still doing okay for himself. Monaco definitely showing that he is capable to go with the top boys here in Tier 2. Might secure him a seat for next season, if not this season. Parker sort of silencing the haters, if there are any. I think that everyone can agree that he is really fast, but he has been in many incidents, whether they are his fault or not. We'll keep in the middle. But being fast is one thing, actually finishing near the front is another. The only one that has done that consistently is Wimpy Nick. Lewis also very fast, but just keeps getting caught in incidents, whether they're his fault for having a mediocre qualifying or getting spun around by Elijah. You know, things happen, and it's unfortunate that he's down in 6th instead of up there where he's supposed to be. But it's raining. It's only 3 laps, so there will be aggressive driving. So let's sit up straight in our chairs. We're on the edge of our seats for 2 laps of absolute chaos, I imagine. Wimpy Nick went really late last time. He went really late last time. What will he do this time? Will he use the DRS as he does use the DRS as his starting time, and Lewis is already immediately alongside with Durgas Fap, as NASCAR fan is already right behind the Ferrari as well, but Parker can't quite make a move work here into turn 1 as we see the Game Master going wide and Elijah going really wide, trying to create a new track for himself, as a little bit of a look of Durgas Vapor on the outside becoming the inside might see him gain a position on NASCAR fan YT, as it is 4 wide here, and Theodore is having a look on the inside of Lewis now, who gets demoted into P7. And in front of him, Theodore is still having a look with Durgus, though this is never gonna work. There's no space here, or is there? On the grass goes Durgus. He forces Theodore on the grass, rather, but it is just about fine. And Theodore takes P5 on his fresh inters. Durgus defending here against Lewis. Will Lewis make a move here into the hairpin? It doesn't quite look like it for now. In front, NASCAR fan still in his P4. Parker is on the edge of his first win here. Maybe it's not his first win, actually. But at least on the edge of a win here with Wimpy Nick in sights. As Theodore is also in hot pursuit of the Williams in P4. Parker using all the ERS he has and wanting to have a look here with Wimpy Nick just in front, but just out of reach. And Wimpy Nick going a bit deep, and that's going to cost him his exit here. And oh, he leaves the space for Parker to have a look on the inside. Parker in the final lap we have gone into in the heavy rain. He goes on the inside. There's a yellow flag. That is Lewis off again, and he retires manually, I reckon. And Parker takes the lead in the meantime. A beautiful move by him sees him into the lead. What a race will it be for him if he wins this race out of nowhere. Wimpy Nick was kind of dominating, but at the same time also was very lucky with all the drivers behind, as there's still a yellow flag but no safety car. It is the final lap of the race as we see Theodore chasing down Medico for the final podium spot. And we know that Medico wants to prove himself, but Theodore has a point to prove, and he is looking very feisty here on his new intermediate tires that will be an advantage. And as I say that, he loses the rear, and NASCAR fan can have a look back to find his P4. Will he send it here with a switchback? No, he stays patient for now. Durgus right behind, fighting here all for P4 as he loses the rear. Now everyone who we go on board with loses the rear. Let's see if it will happen for the Game Master as well. No, he stays clear of that commentator's curse for this time. Morecambe finds himself back into P7 but goes onto the grass, but it seems just fine for now. And Parker, overtaking Wimpy Nick, says thank you very much, I'm gonna win by a stretch, as Theodore for the final podium position on 130R in the wet. On the inside is a little bit of contact. He does touch Medico, and that will be investigated probably, but there was space and he did have the inside. But that is Parker winning the Japanese Grand Prix. What a result by the Alpine driver. Wimpy Nick takes P2. He'll be content with that. Theodore takes a beautiful podium position himself. Medico won't be happy with P4. NASCAR fan will be delighted with P5, I reckon, after losing the rear a few times. And everyone who finished has points, so it can't be too bad. And Theodore, probably my driver of the day. Maybe Parker. Maybe Parker. Spark had to fight from the rear a bunch of times. With Theo, I think, came from like P10 and finished on the podium. But Parker winning the race from getting, I think he was last like 3 times this race. So also very, very good race from him. Wimpy Nick still on the podium, as we have come to expect, but not on the top step. That is for this man right here. A beautiful race by Parker. And Theodore very happy with his P3. And we'll have to see what happened in the midfield. A lot of unhappy drivers, I imagine. A lot of contact I saw. So I'm sure that the stewards will have a lot of stewarding to do. But that is their job. This was our job. Parker wins with the fast lap. Wimpy Nick second. Theo takes third. Medico a unfortunate fourth. NASCAR fan takes a solid fifth. Durgus decent sixth. Morecambe with a few dodgy strategical tries, but still P7. Can't be too unhappy with that. Elijah with a few excursions still takes P8. The Game Master had the pace, but not the consistency. Takes P9. And Lewis, after getting spun out or crashed out, takes P10, and that's the final point. And that is us done for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the race. This was CRF2. My name was Fridge. I hope you guys very much enjoyed it. Tomorrow we'll have CRF1. I think YT will be streaming that one since I'll be racing. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope to see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful evening.